Are you thinking about working in Denmark? I'm Mario and I have been living in Copenhagen for the past 10 years, working in some of the big companies here such as Maersk and Carlsberg. And in this video I'll tell you everything you'll ever need to know about working in Denmark. So let's get started. Number one are the salaries. And again, money matters, and in Denmark you can make good money. Even if the taxes will take a huge amount of your salary, you'll still be better off than in most of the world. It's again, not as good money-wise as working in the US or working in Switzerland or Qatar, but for most people, blue collar and white collar, the salaries are very strong. If you're curious about how strong, you can check this video out over here where I go through how much exactly different professions are in Denmark with showing real payslips. But now that we're on it, let me expand on the taxes piece. So in Denmark, you'll pay up to 50% of your income in taxes potentially. And then on top of that, you have the 25% sales tax and the horrendous capital gains taxes. Now, elaborating on the capital gains taxes. These are the taxes on your investments. And in Denmark, you get the worst taxes in the world for investing. In the sense that if you buy index funds, which are what most people buy if they want to invest, you pay up to 42% for the gains that you have, but also in case you don't even sell the investment. So basically you pay unrealized gains one way or the other, which is absolutely terrible. So if you have a big stock portfolio and you're thinking about moving to Denmark, be very careful about it. Number two is the language. And again, just quick one to make it clear. In Denmark, basically everyone speaks English. So it's almost impossible to find an adult in Denmark who doesn't speak English fluently. For work, this means that almost all professions and jobs, you will actually be good just speaking English. There's no Danish required. This includes also many service jobs, as in restaurants or shops and so on. Now, in my opinion, speaking Danish will be an advantage, especially for fields like sales or companies with operations in Scandinavia, consulting. But again, in most cases, it will not be a requirement. If you're staying here for the medium or long term, so if you are planning to stay longer in Denmark, I would still recommend you learn Danish. I personally learned Danish myself, and you can watch this video over here where I tell you in Danish why you should actually learn Danish. The third thing I want to highlight is the Flexicurity Model. So the gist of the Flexicurity Model is that it's easy for companies in Denmark to hire and fire people. There's also a strong support network to help employees when they are in between jobs. The model has three core elements, and I'll just literally quote what the Danish government's own website says. Number one is that employers can hire and fire at will without excessive costs for dismissing employees. So litigation surrounding dismissals is just not common. Number two is that employees who join and pay a subscription fee to an ACASE, so which is one of those unemployment insurance funds, get up to 2 years of unemployment benefits after losing their job. And I have a video explaining the ACASE and if it makes sense to you over here. Number three is that the Danish government runs an education and retraining programs that also provides counseling support to get unemployed people back to work as quickly as possible. To you as an employee, it makes you less afraid of being fired, which is always a good stress remover. Number four is that Denmark has a flat corporate culture. Personally myself, I never thought I would work in a corporation. I was kind of this renegade guy growing up with like financial independence, be my own boss and so on. And I was against working for someone else. But in Denmark, you just have it so good as an employee that I changed my mind. And specifically, you have again like a flat and accessible work culture. So it's no complicated hierarchies, it's friendly people, your opinion matters, it's relaxed, and it's a trust environment, meaning that you can do your work. Nobody will bug you if you stop early or you need to do something during the day or you went out for a workout in the middle of the day. Again, so long as you deliver your work, which again lifts a big weight off all of our shoulders. The flip side of this is that it can be taken sometimes too far. So like there's something called a janteloven, which is an unwritten social code in Denmark that emphasizes humility and discourages individualism. And it's a cultural norm here that basically people are encouraged to blend in and avoid basically standing out or boasting about their achievements. Janteloven are also so entrenched in the Danish society that basically push people that have this entrepreneurial spirit sometimes to leave Denmark. So that's why sometimes the biggest entrepreneurs out of Denmark are actually not living in Denmark, but they live in the US or Switzerland or somewhere else. Number five is the work-life balance. So in Denmark, you have a strong emphasis that work and life cannot work together, and the government also provides a range of policies and benefits to support this. So you have, as an employee, by law, 5 weeks of paid vacation time each year. Most of the companies will actually add 1 more week to that as well, so you have 6 weeks in total. And also you have flexible arrangements, and that's like working from home or like working from some other office. And at the same time, this was the case before COVID. So now, of course, the world became more like this, but this was the case even before COVID. So it's very entrenched in the society as well. And then for the balance, as I said before, nobody will say anything when you leave, for example, at 3:30, as I do, for example, today myself, to pick up my kids. And in most countries, that's basically 2 or 3 more hours that you need to stay in the office before you see your children, which again, here, not the case. And I have to be honest with you, without having this work-life balance that I have in Denmark, it would be really hard for me to travel the world as much as I do, like 140 countries, and be a father and have a side hustle where I work in a big company. Again, it's basically because of this. Number 6 are the perks. So when you work in a corporation in Denmark, and also in like NGOs and small companies, you will get a lot of perks. And that can be from provided lunch and breakfast in some cases, gym memberships, like a phone, home internet connection, massage in some cases in the past, discounts for restaurants, for the zoo, for Tivoli, like a lot of perks. And I can tell you, work immerse myself. We have a fully equipped gym at the office, breakfast and lunch every day that you need to pay, but it's still super low comparing, subsidized. Phone plan, discounts in the supermarkets. And again, that's just one example. Most companies offer similar setups. Hell, I was even working in Carlsberg before. We actually got all of this plus free beer each month. So again, like, it's a really good in terms of perks place in Denmark. Last point I want to touch on is that Denmark has a limited job market. So Denmark is a small country. It's like less than 6 million people living here, and the corporate sector in Denmark and the job market as a whole, I think, punches above its weight. So you have a lot of big companies like Maersk, Carlsberg, as I mentioned before, but also Novo Nordisk, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in Europe by market cap at the moment, and they all have their headquarters in Denmark. But of course, if you compare with other cities like London or Paris or even other similar sized capitals like Amsterdam, you actually have more stuff and more opportunities, especially for some sectors like technology in those places than that you have in places like Copenhagen. Again, this is not going to be a problem if you want to work in pharma or in logistics, but yes, if you want to work in some other type of industries. Like if you want to work in technology, as I said, like doing product and software development and the like, there are some good options here. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it just doesn't compare to like working in Ireland or working in US or working in UK or Netherlands and so on, for those type of sectors, for instance. But if you want to hear even more about working in Denmark, check this video out over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.